This is Mark Walker of High Power Performance, and you're watching Hostal TV.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Damien. I am here in the Hostal Water studio, and we have a fantastic guest here with us tonight. We have Mark Walker. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, man, I am glad to have you on the show, man, because what we're talking about tonight is definitely needed right now, especially within the COVID environment that we're dealing with and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Introduce yourself to the people, and let's go from there. Who are you, and how did you get started in what you are doing now?
All right, so like we said from the top, I'm Mark. I am of High Power Performance. That's H.I. Power Performance. I am by trade a strength and conditioning coach. Got into this field probably in 2008, and I've been going strong for about the last 12 and a half years, training individuals at the collegiate level, high school level, for the Army, and everybody in between. Just trying to use my skill set to help people get better.
Okay, hey, man, and I appreciate that because I coach high school basketball, so I understand the physical part of it and what it does to a person's body. And I appreciate people like you who are willing to step in and show us coaches to sometimes we need to shut up and let an athlete be an athlete. So I appreciate that. But first, I want to jump into it. I was reading your bio. It says that you have a master's degree in arts and education. How did you go from arts of education to physical fitness?
So basically, like with that master's degree, my focus was human performance and sports science. So it was one of those things where I originally started in the education realm, working in education. I was a behavior intervention specialist, and I was working at a particular school in Columbus, Ohio, for about 4 years. And then I moved on from that school to another school where I was doing some Title I education and some other things along those lines. And it was just more or less of, okay, how do I move in the direction of doing something that brings me joy, whether it makes a ton of money or a little bit of money? And then that's where I made the shift to go get my master's degree in strength and conditioning, and then I've been on this path in some capacity ever since.
Okay. When you got your certificates or your degree in physical fitness, what all did you have to do in order to get that degree?
So essentially, since my focus was exercise science, it was basically going through the process of like you were doing your undergrad, but basically a more rigorous program that's dialed in. Every class is based upon exercise science, nutrition, and something related to that. So basically dialing in, doing your human anatomy classes, your sports performance nutrition, your regular nutrition, your business management, your fitness facility management, and a lot of different things that kind of culminate into learning how to be a exercise scientist. But then also, if you have with the sprinkling in of different admin classes, you learn how to learn a little bit of the business side as well.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. I'm gonna go into that, because I want to know, because everybody knows that every physical conditioning coach has their different little things that they love to focus on, and they love to say, hey, you got to focus on this muscle. This is where it's going to get you. When it comes to your training style, what is your approach to how you train people?
So I love that question. So my approach, for whether you are a tactical athlete, a high school athlete going to a collegiate level, or your mom trying to get in shape, my approach is I train everybody like an athlete, because everybody is some level, has been or is some level an athlete within their own right. Whether you are playing soccer, basketball, if you're a mom hustling, bustling every day, you can move. We all are meant to move. So I train everybody like they're meant to move. So it's not so much of, okay, I'm going to train a woman like a quote unquote woman, or or a boy like a quote unquote boy. I'm going to train you like you're meant to move, because the body is meant to move and be able to handle whatever life throws at it.
Okay, and I appreciate that, because everybody does it differently. Everybody approaches it different. And the way that you just said that, I've never heard anybody say, that they're willing to work with the mom who's driving everybody everywhere to the players themselves. So what age groups do you start with? Do you just do high school kids, middle school kids only, or do you go from a certain age group all the way up to age 100?
So originally, in my mind, when I got into this, I had a cutoff, because with all the research that you say, okay, you start training at about 10 or 11. So originally, my starting age was 10, and basically, my oldest clients, I think, are in their 60s. But I recently I had a dad sneak a 6-year-old into the training. He told me he was 7, whatever. And then I kind of talked to the mom. Oh yeah, he's 6. He'll be 7 next month. But it turned out that this kid was ripe for training, and it was more or less okay. It helped me learn how to lay that foundation and work on the basics. So my age range is now 7, and basically everything above 7 and up.
Okay, cool. So what is a major focus for yourself? What is it that drives you to put you in this platform to say, hey, I want to work with these kids because of, like for me, I love working with the kids this week when I'm coaching basketball, because there are not a lot of good people out there that are willing to train these kids the right way. What is your drive to help these kids with their fitness so that way they can take it from, say, that age of 6 all the way until they're done playing?
Okay, so for me, I think this is two answers to that question. One is I'm big on the education part of the fitness, because you can find anybody out there with a certification or not a certification, and they can put you through a workout and make you sweat. But for me, I want kids and adults to understand the why behind why you're exercising, whether you are training to get better at a sport or just training to tackle life. So I want you to understand, okay, I am exercising because it's going to prevent injuries, it's going to make me more resilient on the field, it's going to make me more explosive. All those things are going to come along with that. So the education piece is number one and first and foremost for me. Whether you train me for a day or 5 years, I want to make sure you're educated when you leave me. Then the second piece is, like you touched on, is having good people in this field, but also for me, having good people in this field that are willing to give back to kids like that were going back to when I was a kid. I had my coach when I reached high school, but before then, I didn't have a lot of access to people who are doing things that I'm doing now. So I want to make sure that I'm in a position to give back with my skill set to make sure kids that look like me and kids who don't have an opportunity to train the proper way to pursue their dreams, whether it be just to be in shape or they want to play at the next level.
Okay. Hey, man, and I love it. And I love people like you who are willing to train on both aspects of that. Because most people would have just keyed in on one side of that. You're actually you're actually tying in both pieces. And I appreciate that. When right now we're in this pandemic and we have, as everybody knows, this COVID thing going on. What is your approach to training within the COVID reign?
So COVID hit and it was interesting. So I initially thought that, okay, this is going to be the jump off point for virtual coaching. I thought everybody was going to be virtual, so I went in that direction of getting the virtual platform set up and just getting everything set up to where I can just offer virtual coaching. It turns out people want to be in the gym more than ever, but they just want to be safe. So my thought process behind it, what my approach to it is, I try to make sure that I have all my COVID protocols in place, wearing the mask when necessary, 6 feet social distancing when we're in the gym. I keep my sprays available to clean between clients. So my biggest thing is to make people comfortable, but then also continue to give people what they want, whether they're comfortable going into the gym. And I also offer virtual coaching, whether you're in California, Houston, anywhere around the country. I'll have something that's built for you, whether we do a Zoom coaching session or I design your program through an app and I deliver it that way. We have check-ins throughout the week.
Okay. Hey, and that's big right now. I know myself, I definitely need to get back into a gym. Being in the gym is more comfortable for me, just because of that noise that you hear when you're in the gym. Because when you're at home, it's kind of boring. You just sitting here, you're like, okay, I did 15 push-ups, and you're lying to yourself. So what is all the social media platforms that people can find you on in order to get to you, to get pricing, to get days and times in which you hold events? Do you have any special events coming up right now? This is the time I want you to talk about everything you have going on.
So the easiest way to find me, I am most active on Instagram, so you can find me High Power Performance, H.I. Power Performance, put it all together. You'll find me there. Find me on Facebook under the same name. I'm on Twitter, but I am not super active. I just basically, whatever I post on Instagram, I just shift it over there. But primarily Instagram is where you're going to find me. Facebook, you'll find me there. But I have my website, and I'll be able to include that later, but it's just more if you want to see the type of coaching that you'll be getting involved with, see different things that my clients are doing, and to see things that I'm going. Instagram is the best place to find me right now. From the things I'm working on getting some virtual classes off the ground, where I'm just trying to figure out the platform so where I can offer those during the day for the people who are working from home, or people who are not working from home that want to break up the monotony of their day sitting at their desk, to jump on a group fitness class that's convenient to where all they need to have on is a pair of sweatpants and some shoes, some gym shoes, and they can jump into the class and get it going and get a sweat going.
Oh man, you sound like you got everything working right now, man, and I appreciate that. Not a lot of people are getting onto this virtual thing. I've seen some, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to work with that guy, but I'm definitely get the vibe that you know what you're doing, you know what you're talking about, and you know how to approach a person's body. This is the last question I have, and it's the most important question, because right now, with the way that the season has been going for most athletes, as we saw in the NFL, it was a lot of torn ACLs this year. It was a lot of torn. My son tore his meniscus. What is your approach to dealing with an injured athlete?
So the big thing with the ACLs and just injuries in general, it just showed us how important preseason is for a lot of these athletes. So from my approach, first and foremost, before you are injured, my approach is to do preventative maintenance to make sure that you don't end up injured. So I approach, when I get somebody in front of me, or you just come on as a new client, a lot of coaches and a lot of personal trainers, strength and conditioning coaches, they love to do a lot of testing, a lot of evaluations to see where your injuries are going to happen at. My approach is to save me time, because a lot of people are working with me one-on-one. Our approach is knowing that you have some type of dysfunction already, to where most people don't squat correctly, they don't hip hinge, they do a lot of movement patterns are going to be messed up. So my approach is to basically build you from the ground up. I'm going to make sure you deadlift and make sure you squat. I'm going to make sure you pull from the ground, make sure you do some pushing, some pulling, all the basic movements that you're going to do within your sport, we're going to do, but I'm going to make sure that we're safe about it. I'm going to make sure that education is put into place, and we're going to push forward. Now, if you come to me and you're injured, because I've had people who have had torn ACLs and return to play, we're going to basically work within the parameters that your doctor set up. So if your doctor says, okay, you're non-weight bearing, we're going to do everything from a seated position. We're going to work more upper body than lower body. Then once you're cleared to play, once you're cleared to get back to doing lower body, we're going to go ahead and tackle it at a slow pace. Because I had a guy who tore his ACL his senior season of high school. Random play, step towards ACL, had a complete reconstruction. So basically, he was on the shelf for a few months. Once he got cleared to go back to training, we started him slow. We went kettlebells and dumbbells, no barbells. We did some band work, basically getting the muscles around above and below stronger, because that's what's going to basically prevent that injury. But then you just make sure that you're smart about everything. I always check in with the athlete during the session to make sure, okay, how are you feeling? How does that movement pattern feel? Because they might be in the mindset of, I need to push through, when no, we need to make sure we need to stop because there's pain, and we need to address where that pain is coming from.
Okay, and man, and everything that you talked about is the right thing. I love it. You hit on every key point, and you hit it with passion. And that's not what I see from a lot of trainers out here. A lot of people out here just trying to figure out how they can make the next buck, figure out how to get the next $100 from this person and not really give them anything. but you're actually putting a bang with the buck, and I love it. I appreciate everything that you're doing. So tell us again, how can we get a hold of you, Mr. Mark Walker, to get our physical fitness together so that way we can prevent injuries, and if we do have an injury, come to you so that way we don't get re-injured anytime soon?
So easiest way to find me is Instagram, or on any platform, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can find me H.I. Performance. You can find me through email, H.I. Performance at outlook.com. If you want to give me a call or a text, 513-294-8034 is the easiest way to get me by text. But basically, if you find me on any of those platforms, you can shoot me a DM, a message, anything like that. If we can get set up to set up a call, because first and foremost, I want to make sure that I'm the right fit. And I just want to say, okay, we're good to go. We always got to figure out if it's the right fit for you and the right fit for me.
Hey, man, and I appreciate it, man. This is Mr. Mark Walker from the Ohio State University. Because I know I got friends that went to Ohio State. If I just say Ohio State, I get yelled at. But he went to the Ohio State University. Hey, Mark, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on the spotlight. Thank you for embracing everything that we're about, and we're going to embrace everything that you're about. Because, like I said, finding a good trainer is a hard thing to do, and you have the passion and the knowledge. Just reading your credentials alone, I want to put my son in your hands. So I will get with you off camera and see if we can come up with a budget that fits me, because I'm pretty sure that once we get this spotlight done, man, everybody's going to hit you. And I don't want to be at the top of the dollar. I want to be somewhere in the middle. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Definitely,
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. Hey, everybody. That was Mr. Mark Waters here. Mark Walker. I'm doing the Hostal Waters and putting Mark together. Well, you see, I'm trying to combine everything together. So this is Mr. Mark Walker. This is Damian Hunt. We're here at Hostal Waters Entertainment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dream, sacrifice, success. Nothing happens in this world if you don't put that man in the middle of it. I appreciate you guys.